The shift did not come with thunder. It did not enter your life with a roar or an earthquake or an announcement written across the sky. It arrived the way dawn always does, quietly, subtly, faithfully creeping into your awareness before you realize the night was over. Something in the air felt different. Something in the spiritual atmosphere had settled into place. You woke up that day and sensed it, though you could not explain it. The silent season had begun. But this silence was not empty. It was not the silence of absence, nor abandonment, nor stagnation. It was the silence of a hand at work, a divine hand, a strategic hand, a hand that builds foundations before raising walls, a hand that plants seeds deep beneath the soil long before spring reveals anything to the watching world. You stood still for a moment and listened, not with ears but with spirit. There were no angelic trumpets, no prophetic dreams replaying in your mind, no dramatic visitation. Yet something was moving around you like the gentle turning of gears behind a grand machine hidden inside a mountain, massive and unstoppable, but muffled by stone and distance. The heavens were working, provision was unfolding quietly. Doors that had refused to budge for years were now unlocking with barely a sound. People you had long forgotten were suddenly remembering you. Opportunities that should have been impossible were slipping onto your path as though they had been waiting for this precise moment. And you realized something you had never considered before. God does not always announce the beginning of a blessing. Sometimes He hides it so it can grow without being touched, poisoned, or interrupted. You began to notice little signs, small shifts that felt strangely orchestrated. The right email appearing at the right time, a conversation that felt divinely placed, a gentle stirring inside you like a seed cracking open underground, new ideas coming alive, old discouragement fading without warning, the road ahead widening in ways you couldn't have someone explain. And though you wanted to shout, though you wanted to tell someone, though you wanted to celebrate even the smallest changes, you felt the whisper, keep it quiet, not yet. Let it grow unseen. For the first time in a long time, you understood that silence was no longer punishment. It was protection. It was strategy. It was God shielding what He was developing in you, because premature exposure kills what the Spirit has not finished forming. The blessings appearing in your life were real, but they were fragile in their infancy. They needed darkness to take root. They needed secrecy to survive. Heaven was not hiding you from the world. Heaven was hiding the world from interfering with what heaven was doing in you. As the days unfolded, the blessings increased not loudly but consistently. You began to realize something deeper. This season was not simply about increase. It was about responsibility. The prosperity showing up in your life was not merely a reward. It was a calling. It was not about accumulating more. It was about carrying more. And in the quiet of your spirit, God asked you a question that pierced deeper than any sermon, vision, or prophecy ever had. Can you receive without broadcasting? Can you take in my goodness without turning it into a stage? Can you hold my increase without making it a badge? Can you embrace my blessing without letting pride whisper that you earned it? The question struck you like a sword because it exposed your heart. It revealed the part of you that longed to be seen, recognized, congratulated. It revealed the subtle hunger for validation that you didn't even know was still alive inside you. But God was not shaming you, He was preparing you. Because what He was bringing into your life was too heavy to be carried by someone who still needed applause. And without that inner examination, you would have mishandled the very blessing He was entrusting to you. In the stillness of that realization, another truth began to take shape. Silence is an instrument in the hands of God. It is a scalpel cutting away pride. It is a furnace refining motives. It is a cocoon birthing new identity. It is a shield blocking premature exposure. It is a classroom teaching you how to walk with power while remaining anchored in humility. The hidden place is not a punishment. It is an honor. For only the chosen are invited into the chambers where God shapes men and women into vessels of weight and durability. Only the chosen are given seasons where visibility decreases so capacity can increase. Only the chosen are hidden long enough for God to finish His work even when impatience claws at the door. You found yourself confronted with the truth that every breakthrough is a proving ground. Every open door tests your discipline. Every increase tests your integrity. Every blessing tests your maturity. God may have opened the door, but it was your character that would determine whether you could stay there. So the silence became uncomfortable. It pressed you, it challenged you, it revealed you, it exposed the parts of you that could not survive the next level. And as you wrestled with that, you realized something that terrified you at first, but liberated you in the end time, delays blessings not because God is slow, but because God is merciful. A blessing granted too early becomes a burden. Prosperity released too soon becomes poison. Influence given prematurely becomes an executioner's rope. God was not slowing down because you were unworthy. He was slowing down because He wanted you alive, whole, and anchored when the elevation came. The delay was never denial, it was divine protection. As the silence deepened, God began to train your roots. This was not a season of branches stretching toward the sky. This was a season of roots digging into the darkness, searching, anchoring, fortifying. You learned to give without announcing it. You learned to sacrifice without documenting it. You learned to pray without needing an audience. You learned to obey without reward. You learned to discern without overthinking. You learned that not every opportunity was a blessing. Not every invitation was divine. Not every person applauding you was assigned to you. Some were distractions, some were traps. Some were merely curious about your rising, but never committed to your calling. Some were attracted to your future, but uninterested in your soul. Your spirit sharpened, your intuition heightened. You understood that wisdom is not just knowing when to say yes, it is knowing when to say nothing, when to stay hidden, when to wait. And as these realizations unfolded in your heart, another truth rose to the surface like gold emerging from the fire. Those who announce too early are attacked too early. A seed that breaks the ground before its roots are secure is easily destroyed. A dream shared before its foundation is stable can be crushed by the opinions of the unassigned. A blessing revealed too soon becomes a target for envy, witchcraft, comparison, sabotage, and spiritual warfare you are not yet equipped to handle. God was not withholding your testimony, He was protecting it. You were not being silenced, you were being shielded. You were not being hidden, you were being guarded. And though you felt ready to share, heaven knew you were not ready to defend. So God kept you quiet, not because the blessing was small, but because the blessing was big. Too big for exposure, too big for mishandling, too big for premature celebration. And slowly, quietly, reverently, you began to understand this silent season was not about lack. It was about formation. It was about preparing the vessel before pouring the oil. It was about building the foundation before constructing the tower. It was about strengthening your identity before enlarging your territory. It was about shaping your heart before expanding your influence. It was about pruning before producing. It was about consecration before commissioning. You began to feel God working in places you had ignored, healing wounds you thought you had outgrown, dismantling beliefs you had inherited instead of examined, reconfiguring the architecture of your soul. You began to feel the potter's fingerprints pressing into the clay of your humanity, reshaping, reforming, reorienting. Not to punish you, but to prepare you. Not to restrict you, but to release you. Not to diminish you, but to make room for more of Him inside you. And the more you yielded to the silence, the more you discovered something exquisite. God does His best work in the dark. Creation began in darkness. Seeds grow in darkness. Babies form in darkness. Diamonds are forged in darkness. And so are you. You were not being put away. You were being prepared. You were not abandoned. You were assigned. You were not paused. You were protected. and the silence that once felt suffocating began to feel sacred. The quiet that once felt punishing began to feel holy. You realized the season was not empty, it was pregnant. Not still, but brewing, not dormant, but developing. And every day you woke up with a fresh awareness: something is coming, something is shifting, something is unfolding, and it will not stay hidden forever. The silence did not lift as the blessings increased. In fact, the more God placed into your hands, the quieter the atmosphere around you became. It puzzled you at first. Shouldn't increase come with celebration? Shouldn't breakthroughs attract the sound of trumpets and testimonies? Shouldn't the fruit of long-suffering draw crowds that rejoice with you? But heaven works differently from the world. God often removes noise precisely when He adds weight. The more He trusts you with, the more He shields you from voices that could distort, pollute, or redirect the purity of what He is placing inside you. You began to realize the paradox: increase makes life quieter, not louder. Not because nothing is happening, but because too much is happening spiritually to waste words carelessly. And this is where the real test began. Not the test of waiting, but the test of receiving. Many people imagine that the hardest challenge is surviving lack, but heaven revealed a deeper truth to you. The hardest test is surviving abundance. Lack may humble you, but abundance exposes you. Lack may press you into prayer, but abundance reveals what you truly worship. Lack tests your endurance, but abundance tests your character. And God, knowing the weight of prosperity, began shaping your heart before your hands could hold what He was preparing. Quietly, gently, almost imperceptibly, He began to press into every hidden corner of your motives. You started noticing subtle thoughts rising to the surface, thoughts you didn't want to admit. The craving for recognition, the desire to prove someone wrong, the temptation to measure your value by your increase, the subtle whisper of pride slipping in through cracks of insecurity you thought had healed. It startled you how quickly the heart can drift when blessed, how easily the soul can exalt itself when elevated, how subtly the flesh tries to claim ownership of what only God could have done. But this exposure was not condemnation, it was purification. It was God showing you what needed to die before your blessing lived publicly. It was God revealing the hidden motives that would sabotage your future if left untreated. For wealth does not change a person. It magnifies who they already are. And so God brought you into the quiet classroom of self-confrontation. Here, the lessons were not taught by sermons or scriptures alone, but by revelation pressed directly into the spirit. Here, the teachings were not about the principles of prosperity, but the principles of humility. You learned that true increase does not begin with numbers, property, or influence. It begins with integrity, stewardship, and character. True wealth is not measured by what enters your hands, but by what stays in your heart. And in this sacred silence, God asked you questions that sliced deeper than any external test. Can you rise without becoming proud? Can you prosper without forgetting me? Can you outgrow seasons without despising them? Can you hold more without needing others to know you hold it? Can you be blessed in private without seeking validation in public? Each question became a mirror reflecting parts of you that the previous season had not revealed. You realize that poverty is not the absence of money. Poverty is the absence of self-awareness. And prosperity is not the presence of abundance. Prosperity is the presence of responsibility. The silence became an X-ray. Increase became the surgical tool. And little by little, God began excavating your inner world, removing entitlement, extracting insecurity, dismantling ego, stripping away the parts of you that would buckle under the pressure of the next level. It hurt in ways only the chosen understand. Not a physical pain, but the ache of having your illusions removed. The sting of seeing your true self. The discomfort of realizing that before God elevates your life, He confronts your heart. You wanted success, but God wanted stability. You wanted breakthrough, but God wanted depth. You wanted visibility, but God wanted purity. You wanted harvest, but God wanted roots. And He knew far more than you did that roots must deepen before branches can spread. Without root, fruit destroys a tree. So He taught you the discipline of secret giving, to give without applause, to bless without announcement, to sow into others without expecting gratitude or acknowledgement. You learned to be generous in silence because heaven measures the heart behind the gift, not the visibility of the act. You learned to be obedient when no one was watching because obedience done in secrecy is the highest form of worship. You learned that spiritual maturity is not displayed on stages. It is formed in the hidden places where decisions are made without witnesses. Then came another lesson: discernment of relationships. Increase began attracting people, some drawn by your light, others drawn by your rising. You realized that not everyone who smiles is safe. Not every opportunity is divine. Not every compliment is pure. Not every open door leads to destiny. Some lead to distraction, dilution, or destruction. Some connections are assignments, others are traps wrapped in friendliness. God was sharpening your eyes to see beyond appearances, to perceive motives, intentions, atmospheres. You realize that discernment is not suspicion, it is protection. Discernment is heaven's filter. Discernment is the difference between expansion and entanglement. And so you learn to say no, not out of fear, but out of wisdom. You learn to step away quietly without explaining. You learn to protect your peace as fiercely as you protect your purpose. But perhaps the most sobering revelation came when God showed you the danger of announcing blessings too early. You remembered moments when you shared a dream before it was ready, and how quickly spiritual resistance followed. You remembered times you revealed your plans prematurely, only to feel them dissolve under unexpected pressure. You remembered seasons when exposure attracted warfare you were not prepared to face. And God whispered, maturity is the ability to be trusted with silence. A seed does not brag about the tree it will become. It grows silently. It roots privately. It breaks the soil only when it is strong enough to handle the sun, wind, and storms of visibility. In this hidden season, God was teaching you to let your fruit speak for itself. The mature do not announce their rise, they rise. They do not boast about their increase, they demonstrate it through stewardship. They do not publicize their obedience, they walk in it. Their character becomes their announcement. Their discipline becomes their testimony. Their consistency becomes their proof. Their transformation becomes their evidence. You were becoming that person. But with increase also came the most dangerous test of all: forgetfulness. Wealth is deceptive because it whispers softly, tempting you to shift your trust from God to resources, from prayer to planning, from spiritual hunger to comfort. Wealth tries to convince you that you no longer need what built you, that you no longer need what humbled you, that you no longer need the intimacy that sustained you in seasons of lack. And so God warned you the true danger of prosperity is not greed, it is amnesia. It is forgetting who carried you through nights of prayer, tears, and survival. Forgetting who opened the doors you now walk through. Forgetting who kept you when you couldn't keep yourself. Forgetting who provided when you had nothing to offer. And so God pressed this truth into your spirit with tenderness and firmness. When prosperity comes, return to the secret place. Not after the celebration, not after the applause, not after the deposit. Immediately return. Return before your heart drifts. Return before success sedates you. Return before pride infiltrates you. For success can become louder than God if you do not guard your ears. And so, in the silence, God forged you. Slowly, patiently, precisely. He softened what needed to soften. He strengthened what needed to strengthen. He stabilized what needed to stabilize. And He whispered truths into the deepest part of your being. You cannot carry wealth without wisdom. You cannot steward influence without discipline. You cannot walk in power without humility. You cannot expand territory without boundaries. What he was giving you was not simply money or opportunity or increase, it was mantle, a calling, a responsibility, a mission, a kingdom assignment dressed in earthly blessings. And mantle bearers are built differently. Mantle bearers are tested differently. Mantle bearers are refined fiercely. Mantle bearers are hidden intentionally. Mantle bearers are entrusted with what others would mishandle. And now you understood you were not in a silent season because heaven forgot you. You were in a silent season because heaven was preparing to entrust you with something that required weight wisdom, and warrior-level character. This was no longer about surviving, it was about becoming. And you began to sense it rising in your spirit. The season is shifting again. Not loudly, not dramatically, but surely like dawn strengthening into morning. Something was close, something was forming, something was about to break open, and God was about to speak again. The silent season did not end the moment the blessings began to rise like hidden wheat beneath the soil. In truth, the silence grew heavier. It wrapped itself around you like a mantle, not as a prison, but as a chamber, a sacred vault where God himself was doing invisible work. Most people think silence means nothing is happening, but the wise know silence is where heaven does its loudest operations. And you chosen one stepped into a terrain where everything looked calm on the surface, while eternity rearranged itself beneath your feet. The blessings were coming, yes, but with them came the first secret tests. God was watching closely now, not to punish, but to measure capacity. He needed to know whether the gifts he was preparing to release could be entrusted to you without being corrupted by pride, fear, or the need for validation. So he let the doors open without applause. He let the fruit ripen without witnesses. He let favor find you in rooms where no one knew your name. And he whispered, "Do not announce what I am installing. Let your fruit speak." It felt strange at first, to grow but not expose, to win but not boast, to receive but guard it like a seed still vulnerable to the wind. But this was the very shape of spiritual maturity, the ability to carry increase without broadcasting it, the ability to receive quietly what others would have shouted on the rooftops. You learned quickly that true blessing is not loud. True blessing is weight. Increase is an assignment disguised as an answered prayer, and God watched how you handled that weight when no one was looking. This is why the silence stayed, because the next layer of your calling required inner architecture. It required a heart that could bend without breaking, a mind that could expand without exploding, and a soul that could steward without slipping. God began to show you the hidden chambers of your own character, not to shame you, but to strengthen the foundation beneath your future. In the quiet, gratitude rose, but so did pride. In the shadows, humility deepened, but so did temptation. In the waiting, patience grew, but so did the awareness of your own ambition. You were being forged like metal, heated on one side and cooled on the other, stretched, strengthened, refined. Not because God doubted you, but because he planned to build something through your life that required unshakable durability. You felt the tension, the pull between who you were and who you were becoming. And heaven whispered, "Let it stretch you." The stretching is proof that you are being shaped for something bigger. You realized then that divine delay was not a denial, it was a shield. Premature promotion destroys more destinies than failure ever could. And God loved you too much to release you before your roots reached the depth required to hold the coming harvest. So he took you deeper, he pressed you inward, he pulled you into the discipline of the unseen. The deeper your roots grew, the quieter everything became. You learned the art of secret generosity, giving where no hand clapped, serving where no spotlight shined, saying yes when no one could praise you for it. This was heaven's classroom. Every hidden act strengthened spiritual muscle. Every unseen obedience sharpened discernment. You realize not every opportunity was actually a divine invitation. Some doors were distractions in disguise. Some relationships were spiritual leeches dressed as destiny partners. The more you grew, the more discernment became oxygen. God was teaching you to sense before you saw, to know before you stepped, to weigh spirits before you welcomed them. And still you could not speak of the blessings forming quietly around you, because exposure too soon invites attack too early. Announcing what God is birthing before the foundation is set is like opening a womb prematurely. So heaven kept you hidden under his wing, not as punishment, but as protection. True chosen ones grow in the shadows. They labor where no applause echoes. They cultivate where no cameras record. They rise like morning light, soft at first, impossible to ignore later. And you were rising, quietly, powerfully, invisibly. But the greatest test was not in how you handled growth, it was in how you handled the temptation to forget. Because success has a sound, and that sound is seductive. It pulls attention outward. It amplifies noise. It whispers lies about self-sufficiency. God saw the increase coming toward you. Like a tide, opportunities favor provision, relationships open gates. And he whispered with stern tenderness, "Do not forget me when the blessing comes. Do not let applause drown my voice. For the human heart is fragile. Abundance can intoxicate it quicker than suffering ever could." And God knew that prosperity tests the soul far more than poverty. A wealthy person with a small heart becomes spiritually bankrupt. A blessed person who forgets their source becomes a danger to themselves. So the Lord drew you back again and again to the secret place, the chamber where you first learned to surrender, first learned to trust, first learned to wait. In the silence of that place, you remembered who you truly were, not self-made, but God-shaped, not lucky, but chosen, not rising alone, but lifted by unseen hands. From this posture, humility began to reign over your soul. Gratitude guarded the gates of your mind. Stillness wrapped your heart like armor. And still the refining continued. The waiting did not end simply because growth had begun. The waiting intensified. It was in this extended quiet that God forged the final edges of your character, removing entitlement, burning away scarcity, exposing insecurity, softening pride, sharpening vision. You began to understand the divine formula. God adds zeros only after he has refined the inner arithmetic of a soul. Wealth without wisdom becomes poison. Influence without character becomes destruction. Opportunity without maturity becomes collapse. And because you are chosen, because your calling holds weight, because your destiny carries consequence, God refused to let you carry anything into the future that could sabotage you later. You felt this deeply, sometimes painfully. But you endured because something inside you recognized the pattern. God withholds only to protect. God delays only to strengthen. God hides only to build. This revelation settled into your bones like truth you had always known but never named. Then came the next movement, the practical preparation. Heaven whispered, "Build your structures now. Prepare your systems now. Set your boundaries now." For prosperity without structure invites subtle thieves. Poor planning, impulsiveness, emotional spending, relational pressure, spiritual distraction. And so you began to build discipline around your life, financial boundaries, relational clarity, spiritual guardrails, habits rooted in wisdom rather than impulse. The more you structured your world, the more protected your calling became. And God smiled on the work because foundations are the quiet heroes of every great destiny. They hold up what the world eventually sees. But even this was not the end of the training. God moved you into deeper rhythms, spiritual patterns, designed not merely to bless you, but to anchor you. You learned the sacred rhythm of stillness, the ability to pause before reacting, to breathe, before deciding, to listen before moving. You learned the discipline of secret giving, generosity that echoes in heaven even when it is invisible on earth. You learned the posture of prayer, not begging, not performing, but aligning, opening your heart so heaven could speak. And gratitude became your daily incense, the fragrance that kept your spirit uncluttered from comparison, entitlement, and fear. These rhythms rewired your soul. They shaped a version of you that success could never corrupt and failure could never break. And then the final revelation descended like a mantle. You were never called to hoard, you were called to steward. Every dollar you receive is sacred, a tool, a seed, a mission. Every resource is an assignment. Every increase is a responsibility. Wealth was never meant to inflate your identity, but to extend your impact. You were not being blessed simply to live better, but to build better, give deeper reach, further, and influence wiser. Prosperity in God's design is not about accumulation, it is about multiplication. And you began to see clearly the silent season was not silence at all. It was strategy. It was God crafting a guardian inside you, a watchman over your own soul, so that when the increase comes, and it will, the blessing will not destroy you, the applause will not distract you, and the abundance will not dilute your devotion. You were becoming ready, not because the journey was easy, but because the silence did its work. The hidden season shaped a heart that can carry what loud seasons cannot. The shadows became your mentors. The quiet became your shield. And heaven whispered, "Now the gate is forming. Prepare to walk through it." The gate did not appear the way you expected. It did not arrive with thunder or the roar of crowds. It emerged quietly, like dawn slipping through the cracks of a sleeping world. At first, you did not even recognize it as a gate. It felt like a shift inside you, a loosening, a widening, an internal horizon stretching itself open. Heaven often opens gates in the soul before it opens them in the natural. That is how God prepares you inward expansion before outward elevation. For a moment, you hesitated. Not because you doubted Him, but because you had finally become comfortable in the silence. There is a strange safety in hidden seasons. No one can judge what they cannot see. No one can attack what you have not revealed. No one can sabotage what has not yet been born. But God did not build you for safeness. He built you for stewardship. And He whispered into the marrow of your spirit, "Do not cling to the cave I used to shape you. You were not forged to remain hidden forever." You felt it, then the gentle trembling of destiny shifting beneath your feet. What had once been preparation was now becoming activation. What had once been pruning was now becoming propulsion. The shadows that once protected you now pointed toward the light with reverent insistence, as if even they knew their assignment was complete. The season of silence was ending, but not in the way you imagined. Not with noise, but with clarity. This is the truth. Heaven poured into your spirit. The greatest transitions do not happen when the world hears you. They happen when your soul finally says yes. And your yes was forming trembling, rising like fire from deep within. It was not a loud yes. It was a surrendered yes, a holy yes, a yes that cost you something, a yes that marked you. But the gate did not simply open, it demanded something from you before you crossed. Gates from God always require exchange. You cannot carry old weight through new thresholds. You cannot drag outdated identity through spiritual acceleration. That is why the pressure intensified. It was not demonic warfare, it was divine filtration. God was separating you from the version of yourself that could not survive where you were going. He brought to the surface every lingering fear, every shadow of insecurity, every residue of the old life. Not to shame you, to free you. Because fear cannot pass through gates of destiny. Comparison cannot pass through gates of assignment. Pride cannot pass through gates of calling. And so God pressed these things out of your spirit, like a skilled refiner extracting impurities from gold. It was uncomfortable, yes, but necessary. Then He asked something harder. Release what you love if it no longer aligns with where I am taking you. Destiny is costly, and sometimes the price is people. Sometimes the price is environments that once felt like home. Sometimes the price is comfort, predictability, routine, or the illusion of control. Sometimes the price is the version of you that the world applauded, but heaven never authored. The gate waited silently as you wrestled not with God, but with yourself. Yet even in your wrestling there was grace, a holy gentleness, a patience that proved you were never walking alone. The moment you finally let go, truly let go, something shifted in the atmosphere. It was not dramatic, it was not emotional, it was alignment, and alignment is the loudest sound in heaven. The gate widened. You inhaled and breath felt different, larger, unrestricted. Oxygen touched parts of your spirit that had been sealed off in the silent season. Clarity came like a wind. Strength rose without effort. Courage whispered through your ribs like a second heartbeat. You realized it then. What you thought was delay was actually preparation for this very moment. What you thought was silence was strategy. What you thought was restricted access was divine pacing. But the revelation was not finished. God placed understanding in your spirit like a stone of fire. Acceleration without intimacy becomes self-destruction. That is why He tied your increase to your obedience, your influence to your character, your prosperity to your stewardship, your authority to your surrender. Heaven was not simply upgrading your life, it was upgrading your identity. You were no longer moving as someone being shaped. You were moving as someone assigned, and the assignment was bigger than you imagined. Your blessing was never meant to end with you. It was always designed to flow through you. You were being built not as a collector of resources, but as a carrier of impact, not as a keeper of wealth, but as a steward of kingdom purpose. Every gift God prepared was meant to become a door for others. Every increase was meant to break chains for people who have never met you. Every promotion was meant to expand territory far beyond your own life. The gate was not a door into luxury. It was a door into responsibility, an invitation into spiritual leadership, a summons into influence crafted by heaven, not culture. You were being prepared to become a light that does not dim, a source that does not run dry, a vessel that does not leak, a bearer of wisdom in a generation drowning in noise. But before you crossed, God gave you one more instruction, a sacred command that carried the full weight of eternity. Return to the secret place. Every time I elevate you, return. Elevation without intimacy becomes ego. Influence without prayer becomes idolatry. Blessing without gratitude becomes entitlement, and you were not called to fall the way others fall. You were not designed to collapse under what God is giving you. You were shaped for longevity, durability, integrity, mastery, holiness. So you bowed your head, not in fear, in reverence, in remembrance, in surrender. The gate waited, and then with one quiet, resolute step, you crossed. Heaven felt it. Hell felt it. Your future felt it. The moment you stepped through, acceleration ignited. Doors that had resisted you for years opened as if pushed by invisible hands. Connections emerged effortlessly like rivers that had been waiting for your arrival. Favor rested on your shoulders with unprecedented weight, not the fragile type that can be lost, but the rooted type that carries assignment. You moved differently. You saw differently. You discerned differently. You were not just blessed, you were commissioned. And then God spoke not in thunder, but in clarity sharp enough to cut through your marrow. Guard what I give. Steward what I place in your hands. Build with discipline. Walk with honor. Move with conviction. Keep your heart uncluttered. Keep your spirit clean. Keep your motive pure. And remember, everything I pour into you is for the sake of my kingdom. You nodded in your spirit, fully aware of the weight you now carried. Wealth was no longer currency, it was calling. Influence was no longer vanity, it was responsibility. Success was no longer applause, it was assignment. and every blessing was a tool placed into your hands for impact. Then the final mantle descended, a spiritual authority so quiet it had no need to shout, a leadership so deep it had no need to announce itself, a wisdom so steady it had no need to prove anything, a confidence so rooted it had no need to compare. You were becoming the person the silent season was designed to shape all along. And heaven declared, you are ready. Not perfect, not flawless, not finished, but ready. Ready to build, ready to lead, ready to steward, ready to walk in destiny without fear, without hesitation, without apology. Ready to carry increase without being consumed by it. Ready to rise without forgetting who lifted you. Ready to walk through gates others only pray for, not because you are better, but because you are obedient. Then heaven placed one last invitation before you, not a suggestion, but a divine seal. The declaration of the new you. Speak it, chosen one. This is not poetry, it is activation. I renounce all fear, scarcity, and limitation. I release every old identity that cannot walk with me into destiny. I receive the mantle of stewardship, wisdom, and divine authority. I embrace my assignment with courage and purity. I guard my heart, my atmosphere, and my calling. I walk through the gate God opened for me. I step into the fullness of who I am in Christ, and I will not turn back. And heaven answers, Amen, it is done. The gate stands behind you now. The future stands before you, and the world is about to witness the fruit of the silent season. And now, as the echoes of the silent season fade behind you, a new reality stands before you. You are no longer the person who waited in the shadows, unsure whether doors would ever open. You are no longer the one whose blessings arrived quietly and unsettled your heart. The trials of delay, the discipline of hidden obedience, the refining of character, all of it has spoken a single undeniable truth. You are chosen and you are ready. The seasons of waiting were never wasted. They were never punishment. They were preparation. The silence that once seemed like absence has now revealed itself as strategy. Every moment of hidden labor, every prayer whispered without audience, every act of unseen generosity, every temptation resisted, they were all the forge in which your destiny was shaped. And as you step forward, you see it clearly. The world does not make the chosen. God does. The world only observes what God has built. Doors will open. Opportunities will align. Favor will flow. Resources will appear in ways that defy natural logic. But all of this is not for indulgence, applause, or self-aggrandizement. It is for kingdom impact. It is for the extension of purpose beyond what you could have imagined. Every blessing is a tool. Every assignment is a responsibility. Every connection is a bridge to greater fulfillment. And with every step you take, remember the truth carved into your spirit. During the silent season, your authority is not for domination, but for stewardship. Your increase is not for boasting, but for multiplication. Your power is not for pride, but for obedience. Fear may whisper, doubt may linger, temptation may press, and the world may misunderstand. But the gate you walked through is God's assurance. He has equipped you to carry the weight of destiny, the responsibility of blessing, and the authority of purpose. The silent season has done its work. The fruit is ready, and you are the vessel prepared to bear it. So move forward, not recklessly, not arrogantly, not with the need for validation, but with courage, clarity, and unwavering faith. Step into your calling fully knowing that the gates God opens are tailor-made for you, and that every blessing you hold is a seed for something greater than yourself. Walk in alignment with the Spirit guard. Your heart nurture your roots, and steward all that has been entrusted to you. And as you do know this, the silent season was not silent after all. It was speaking, shaping, strengthening, and positioning you for a destiny that will leave an eternal mark. The world may not yet see it. The applause may not yet come, but heaven sees it. Eternity records it, And your legacy begins in the quiet now, a life consecrated, a purpose activated, and a soul aligned with God's eternal plan. You have crossed the gate. You have embraced the mantle. You are the new, you chosen, prepared, and unstoppable.